Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Enter the Abyss. It's another spooky Sunday.
I'm the main host, Cleet.
Oh, main host Cleet. I guess that makes me the side bitch, Britain. Welcome to Cleet and Side Bitch Britain's podcast.
What are you drinking tonight, side bitch?
I am drinking the Double Hazy. It's an India Pale Ale from Ska Brewing. And when you drank from your can, I recognized it. I think I had that one before. It's really good. It's got the big green fuzzy monster on it.
Yeah, I got Big Crispy.
Yeah, Big Crispy.
Big fan of Big Crispy. You imagine meeting him in the woods in Utah?
No, I can't, actually. That would ruin my entire camping trip.
That would be terrifying. I mean, he looks happy, but a little too happy. He might eat you.
Yeah. He looks very excited to be, to make your acquaintance. We'll say that.
Big Crispy.
So I watched not one, but two scary movies since the last time we recorded. I'll have you know.
Oh, wow.
The first one was called Sinners. Really good, actually. I don't know if I'd quite call it like horror, but it's actually got a lot of really good reviews. I was really late to watch it. I wish I could have seen it in theaters, but it's about that old school bar that they put up two twin brothers, and they make a bar, and then vampires show up. Really good movie, though. I think you should check it out. The next one I watched was Until Dawn, and it's based off of the video game that Sony made. That one was fun. It wasn't as good as I was hoping for. It's kind of like a Cabin in the Woods sort of deal to me, but it was okay. It was okay.
Cabin in the Woods was
legit
amazing.
Yeah, Cabin in the Woods was great.
One of my favorite ones.
Have you seen anything spooky, Cleet?
I have not. I've been working around the house. I haven't had a lot of time. I've been really lame. So this podcast is about as spooky as I get sometimes.
It's just depressing. The best time I have is I sit down with a beer with my side bitch and we talk about spooky stuff. But what's the topic for this evening, Cleet? Cleet from the South. Cleetus.
All right, guys. Okay, everybody. Cleet, feet, and everyone. Let's buckle up because these stories are, I would say, pretty baffling. As you recall, if you listened to our last episode last week, we had a viewer request missing 411, specifically in Utah. So tonight, we have a collection of mysterious vanishings in the wilderness that defy explanation. People who go out into nature and poof, they're gone. Often with weird circumstances like sudden storms or odd clues left behind. Tonight, we're focusing on 4 Utah cases: a Boy Scout who vanished up in the Uintas, a toddler who disappeared by a river in Moab, a traveler from Finland who came to Utah only to slip into oblivion, and lastly, an 18-year-old who went missing in 1969 near Flaming Gorge. So, pretty exciting stories. Can't wait to jump in.
It's interesting because we have the Uintas, right? That's a huge range. A lot of people go missing. In fact, it wasn't recently, but my brother-in-law actually went missing in the Uintas for a while. Him and his buddy, they were on a scout trip, and we were actually out of town, and her mom called and was like, yeah, they can't find him. He's missing.
What? How long was he missing for?
I want to say like 3 or 4 hours, maybe longer. I can't remember. It was a long time ago, but it was like we genuinely thought that like that was like he was gone because like people go missing there and don't come back.
Well, the Uintas, for context, for people who aren't in Utah, it's a very, very high elevation point. Utah's already at a high elevation, but the Uintas are above like Utah. The winters are harsh. The UV rays come in extra bright. Like it's a remote place of Utah. It's cool. It's beautiful. It's out in the middle of nowhere. But
dense trees,
you can die up there.
Thick. Mm-hmm. Like you can get lost.
Uninhabited.
Like, yeah, it's crazy. Well, I mean, there's Bigfoot there, of course. Like it's not completely uninhabited. But
Big Crispy.
You got Big Crispy rolling around up there. Hi, Cleet. I'm Big Crispy.
When you see Big Crispy, always leave 1 bullet in your chamber.
And not for him. It's for you. I see you brought 1 bullet. Oh, yeah. You see Big Crispy.
No, you have a cartridge, but you count them because you do not want to be captured by Big Crispy.
I don't know how we missed that one on the iceberg that we did. That's weird. Big Crispy didn't show up. We need to redo that one. All right, let's get serious, Cleet. This isn't a funny show.
Yeah, I apologize. We're really sad.
Okay. We're going to start with the case of Garrett Bardsley, a 12-year-old Boy Scout who vanished in 2004 during a camping trip in the high Uintas. This one hits close to home for a lot of Utahns. It was August 20th, 2004, a clear Friday morning around 8 a.m. Garrett and his dad Kevin were up early at Cuberant Lake in the Uinta Mountain. Picture this, father and son standing at the edge of a calm alpine lake, fishing poles in hand, couple of beers.
Yeah. Well, not for the kid, right? But yeah. You gotta, fishing and drinking goes hand in hand.
Right. The chill mountain air turning their breaths to fog. The rest of their Boy Scout troop was still at camp just up the hill, maybe 150 yards away. Garrett hooks a fish, or maybe just splashes in the shallow water and soaks his shoes and socks. It's the kind of thing that any kid might do. He tells his dad he's going to run back to camp to change into dry socks and shoes, because his feet, of course, are freezing.
Just like that, a quick trip alone, and I'm assuming it's a super short distance, right?
Yeah, I mean, like it was the last one we were covering with David Pilates, right? Like it can literally be like you turn a tree sometimes, and that's enough, right? Like it doesn't have to be far, but it is extremely.
The moment they go out of line of sight. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but it's extremely short, no more than 150 paces. One family friend said. The campsite was really close, just a short trail they've walked multiple times. Kevin, the father, wasn't extremely worried. He could practically see the path from the lake. In fact, Kevin watched Garrett as he started walking off, even shouted some directions to keep him on the right tracks. I imagine Kevin standing there with a fishing rod, watching his son's back fade between the trees, yelling, "Remember, bear right at the big rock." Garrett shouts back, "Got it, Dad," and off he goes. Black hoodie, red sweatpants, and wet sneakers squishing on the trail. I will say, knowing how this ends, being a parent, this is extremely...
Guilt. The guilt?
It's so bad. It makes me sick. Even just thinking about, your kid just going back to change his shoes and that's the last time you see him. That's... I don't like that, Cleet. I don't like it.
Yeah. Don't let your kids go on their own out in the woods. Be a helicopter parent.
That's why I'm going to get 4 leashes. 4 leashes for my children. Kevin turns back to the lake for what must have been just a minute or two, maybe tending to his fishing line. Then he realizes that 20 minutes have passed, and Garrett hasn't come back yet. That's odd for a 150-yard trip. A little alarmed, Kevin heads up to camp to check on his boy. He gets there, expecting to see Garrett pulling on some fresh socks. But Garrett isn't there. In fact, none of the other scouts even saw Garrett arrive at the campsite at all. It's like he vanished on the short trail between the lake and the tents.
Yeah, man. Just imagining being in that situation where you just saw your kid go out of your line of sight. You think everything is fine. You get back to the camp. No one's seen him. My heart would drop.
Yeah, that's immediate panic. Kevin and the others immediately start searching and calling Garrett's name. Maybe he had wandered off the path to see something, or perhaps got turned around. But there's no sign of him. And mind you, this area near Cuberant Lake isn't a thick jungle of undergrowth. It's fairly open alpine forest. You'd think that if he fell or got hurt, they'd find him quickly. Within hours, a full-scale search and rescue operation launches. We're talking hundreds of volunteers showing up to help. Professional SAR teams, dogs, helicopters, thermal imaging cameras, the entire works. Over the next few days, more than 1,400 people combed the rugged terrain. Even horseback riders went out there. Every resource they had. Rain and even snow had hit the area in the first couple of days, which really hampered the search efforts. Imagine trying to track a missing boy when the weather is suddenly dumping rain on you and a nighttime temperature drops below freezing. It actually got down to around 18 degrees Fahrenheit that first night. Brutal cold for a kid out there without a jacket or shelter. The searchers kept at it for over a week. Sadly, nothing turned up. No footprints, no gear, nothing. Except one intriguing clue. They found a single Nike sock that might have belonged to Garrett. It was discovered about a half mile from the lake in Boulder Field. The Summit County Sheriff Dave Edmonds said the sock looked like it had been taken off of a wet foot and wadded up, consistent with what they'd expect if Garrett removed it himself. So perhaps Garrett, cold and desperate, went trekking into a boulder field to find shelter from the weather, maybe took off his wet sock to wring it out or to dry off his foot.
I mean, it's pretty creepy, man. I mean, just knowing 411 and the points that have a person fall into it, boulder fields, and the fact of a sudden weather change right after the disappearance takes place. It's really creepy.
Yeah, it's just those phenomena, man. Everything that happens after is just, I don't know, it just seems to throw people off the trail. It's like Mother Nature's like, yeah, no, you're not going to find them. Sorry.
I just don't understand boulder fields. Why is that a common thing?
I don't know.
It's just weird to me.
Yeah. Aside from that single sock, not a trace of Garrett or even the fishing pole that he was carrying was ever found. The fishing rod thing really gets me. You'd think that you'd find that dropped on the ground, but nothing. Searchers scoured a 3-mile radius for 9 days, checking every crevice, every thicket. No blood, no clothing besides the sock, and no body. No signs of an animal attack, which you'd usually see like torn clothing or traps or something to that degree. And mountain lions or bears leave evidence. And police said that there wasn't any evidence of an abduction either. It's literally as if this 12-year-old kid stepped off the trail and was consumed completely by the wilderness. His devastated parents kept searching for months after, refusing to give up. Garrett's father, Kevin, later said, "I've speculated and speculated. I don't know where he is. I wish I knew. If I did, I would just end this." To this day, Garrett Bardsley is still missing. His disappearance remains unsolved, one of Utah's enduring mysteries. A boy vanished on a short walk in a familiar area, leaving almost nothing behind. It's every parent's nightmare.
It really is. And sadly, Utah has other cases just like this going back decades. And I think it just comes down to respecting Mother Nature, because that's still the domain in which people can go missing, whether you're being attacked by predators or just the fact of having a child in the wilderness. It makes me feel that ick feeling, just because of the exposure. Kids can be silly sometimes. They can make stupid mistakes and they might not understand the consequences of their decisions. And I don't know, man. It's a sad case.
Exactly. It's not a good one. Off to you, Cleve, for the second one.
Yeah, so let's talk about Jenny Klein. Let me set the scene for you. It's Memorial Day weekend, May 25th, 1974. The Klein family, mom, dad, and their 2 kids are camping at a crowded campground about 10 miles north of Moab, Utah, along the Colorado River. It's a holiday weekend, so lots of families are out there camping, kids running around, probably the smell of campfires and hot dogs in the air. Little Jenny Klein is 3 years old, a happy kid on a family adventure. She's wearing a cute little swimsuit because they were playing near the river. Jenny and her 5-year-old brother are digging in the sand by the riverbank within sight of their parents. Her mom and dad, their names are Susan and Howard, are keeping an eye on the kids, like any parent would. At one point, Howard needs to grab something from the camper, maybe more snacks or a towel, so he walks a short distance away to their camper. Jenny's mom is watching the kids, and that's when fate struck. Suddenly, nearby, 2 dogs start fighting, like a random dogfight breaks out between campers. You can imagine the commotion. Barking, snarling, people shouting at the dogs. Naturally, everyone's attention, including Jenny's mom and brother, snapped toward the animals. It was just a few moments of distraction, and when they turned their heads back to where little Jenny was playing, she's gone.
It baffles me that it's that quick, right? And, for like a 3-year-old, like you said, they don't know any better. They're just playing. They can go off in any direction. And then you could just oh man, the dogs are fighting. And then that's enough. And gone. Yeah. It's crazy, man. It makes me not ever want to take my kids camping ever again. It's ridiculous.
Yep. In the blink of an eye, Britton. 1 second, she's giggling in the sand. The next second, there's only tiny footprints being washed away by the river. Her parents frantically start searching, calling out, "Jenny! Jenny!" Can you imagine the surge of panic? There were dozens of people around at this campground, yet nobody saw where Jenny went. They searched the area and immediately alerted the authorities. A 3-year-old missing by the river. This triggers a huge response. People scoured the riverbank, dredged parts of the river, thinking she might have fallen in. The Colorado's river current is strong. If she fell in, she could have been swept away quickly. But here's the thing. They never found a body. Not that day, not ever. A little child's body should not travel that far without being found, It was like she vanished into thin air. What's especially chilling is the theory that emerged. The dogfight might have been an intentional distraction. During that brief chaos, someone could have snatched Jenny and slipped away. In fact, years later, a news article flat out stated, during a distracting commotion, someone picked Jenny up and walked away with her. Just imagine a stranger lifting this tiny girl while everyone's eyes are elsewhere and just walking off into the crowd or to an old car. Speaking of which, Jenny's family recalled an old car parked between their camper and the river around that time. To this day, nobody knows who owned that car or if it had anything to do with her disappearance. Could have been innocent. Could have been the getaway.
Yeah, I think you hear about more of those types of kidnappings in more busy areas, not so much out camping. But it wouldn't be hard, especially if you're in a busy campground. Again, you look away for a second, that's all it takes. Someone takes them, runs away, and then they can go anywhere.
Yeah, it's pretty scary, man. Jenny's parents later said they don't recall authorities really interviewing the other campers in depth. Remember, this was the 1970s, so things were a bit less organized, and many of the campers were out-of-towners or even drifters passing through. But by the time police showed up, a lot of those potential witnesses were gone and never identified. It's really heartbreaking. There was a hope that maybe she was abducted and survived. But over the years, the clients held on to that hope. In fact, decades later, just a couple of years ago in 2023, a woman came forward claiming she was Jenny, alive all these years under a different identity. It created a buzz of hope, but DNA tests proved she was not Jennifer Klein. Another crushing dead end. This case remains unsolved after 51 years. There's a poignant line from a 2008 Salt Lake Tribune piece about Jenny's disappearance that stuck with me. Talking about Jenny's family, the article said, "For years, her family has been forced to deal with the unknown. Is she a grown woman today, or a collection of tiny bones in a nameless gully? If it were your daughter, would you look at a 30-something woman today and not wonder?" That hits you hard, man.
Yeah.
Just where my mind would go. Right now, little Jenny would be in her 50s. Her parents not knowing if their daughter drowned in that river or was whisked away to a different life, had to live with the awful limbo. Whether it was the river or an abductor taking advantage of the distraction, neither outcome is comforting. Either the wilderness claimed her, or a human monster did, and we'll probably never know which. Jenny Klein's disappearance remains one of the Utah's most haunting mysteries. It's literally the longest open missing person case in state records.
Yeah, that's crazy. 2 stories down, and I have to say that this is very heavy stuff. I mean, obviously, it's not even like distant history. These kids, I mean, these kinds of baffling disappearances are still happening in today's day and age. In fact, our next story occurred just this year, 2025. It's the case of Ani Racina, and it's one of the strangest because it involves a visitor from halfway around the world who came to Utah and then vanished.
Could you imagine, like, visiting somewhere like thousands of miles away from where you live for your vacation, and then you just get flown into some abyss and no one hears from you again? It's like, yeah, I'm going to Utah. And they're like, oh, okay, I've never heard of that place. Well, then never see him again. Just disappears.
And then they're like, yeah, Utah's not the place you want to go. So, Ani Ilmari Racina is a 28-year-old man from Finland. He's an adventurous soul by all accounts, and for reasons still unclear, Ani decided to travel alone to Utah in early of 25. He arrived at Salt Lake City International Airport on March 5th, 2025. Now, Utah's a long way from Finland, and he wasn't visiting friends or family here as far as anybody knows. He told his family back home some vague plans about hiking, I think. So picture him landing at the airport with a backpack. We actually have airport surveillance footage of him. He had just a backpack, and from what investigators could tell, he did not have gear adequate for the Utah wilderness in March, which means snow, cold, and unpredictable weather up in the mountains. I mean, people usually come to Utah for the snow. It's like the greatest snow on earth, right? You wouldn't just be like, I'm just going to go trekking with my backpack in the middle of fucking winter. It's just kind of weird, man.
Yeah, I got a couple of T-shirts, some sweatpants.
Got my swimsuit.
Definitely sounds like a recipe for disaster, man. A swimsuit.
Take on the typical March Utah weather. Ani then apparently took a taxi from the airport and got dropped off in a very remote area of Duchesne County. What? Out near a place called Moon Lake. That's quite a distance from the Salt Lake City airport. That's roughly 150 miles east of Salt Lake on the southern slope of the high Uintas Wilderness, really out in the middle of nowhere. So the guy lands in Salt Lake City Airport. He's like, take me clear out to Duchesne. I want to go out to the Uintas. Just my backpack. And it's just weird, man. The taxi driver, according to reports, dropped him near Moon Lake, which in early March is desolate. The campground there was closed for the season. The roads were even closed due to snow beyond a certain point. So if he went in, he was basically trekking into a snow-bound wilderness.
I mean, at this point, I would be more shocked if he didn't disappear. But anyways, continue.
It really is dangerous if you're not prepared. Ani was last confirmed seen on March 5th in that area near a town called Mountain Home or Telmage, northeast of a little community called Tabiona. After that, nobody knows. He didn't make his return flight. By March 17th, his family reported him missing when they couldn't reach him. Utah authorities launched a search. Duchesne County Sheriff's Office got involved and they found a cell phone ping from Ani's phone up in the Moon Lake region, which was the last trace of him. But physically, no sign of Ani had ever been found. No tracks, no discarded gear, nothing. The sheriff's captain, John Crowley, said, "We just know his cell phone pinged up here, and we have no sign of him." And he noted from the airport video that Ani did not have the right equipment to be up in the Uintas in those conditions. I think in any condition, really, but anyway. Think about it. Ani basically walked into a snowy mountain wilderness alone. Maybe he underestimated it, or maybe he had some plan like to find some specific remote spot. But why? Even his family was baffled. They actually flew to Utah to assist in the search as soon as they realized that he had been missing. They spent weeks out there with search teams combing the forests around Moon Lake, and they found absolutely nothing. Captain Crowley made a plea, saying, "I need the public's help immensely. In 30 years of law enforcement, I've never had to deal with a gentleman who flew in from Finland to go hiking up there." It's not like a funny statement, but it's also like, when would you have to say something like that? Like, never in my years has someone from Finland just decided to drop into Salt Lake and then disappear into the Uintas. I mean, it's just such an unusual case. Like, even the sheriff is like, hey, this is a first. Never in my career.
People are gonna get mad at me for laughing. I'm sorry, but I mean, I do like kind of question like, what was Oni's motive? Did he just come to Utah specifically to disappear? Because it almost seems manufactured to be so. I mean, could it be foul play? Ugh. Because one weird angle is, who takes a taxi to a random trailhead in winter? Like, as a taxi person, you're like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure. If someone wanted to harm themselves or start a new life, there might be an easier way. Like, if someone wanted to meet a person out there secretly, maybe. There are whispers, did he connect with someone online? A wrong person who led him there? Or did he get out there and then got lost in the blizzard or fall in a canyon? Like, those would be the questions I would be asking myself.
I mean, they're definitely all fair questions, but I mean, it's just weird because, again, Finland is nowhere close to Utah, and it's like, it's just not somewhere you would just pick out of a hat or throw on the dartboard, right? Like, I don't want to make this comparison, but it's like, the suicide forest in Japan or wherever it is, like, people intentionally go there to not come out. Like, it kind of seems like this guy knew he wanted to go to the Uintas. I don't think he wanted to come back out, but I don't know why the Uintas specifically,
I don't know. Maybe some weird pilgrimage.
Yeah, maybe he found some like Uinta cult. And they're like, you know what? We're hunting Big Crispy this evening. We need all the help we can get. So
we need to fight back against Crispy.
Big Crispy is done. He's overstayed his welcome.
And then they lost the war against Crispy.
Poor Ani. The area is incredibly rugged. In March, it's feet deep in snow. If Ani got lost or hurt, exposure would get him quickly. Spring has come and gone and still no trace. It's like the mountains just swallowed him whole. As one commenter who knew the area said, if he did make it up to the Moon Lake in winter without gear, there's almost no way that he could have survived. It's frigid, windy, and miles from self-service or help. Others find it really odd that nobody found anything of his, and that you don't see any more news on it. It's almost as if this story got lost too. But as of now, Oni Racina is missing, an international mystery on Utah soil. This case is ongoing, so if anyone out there listening has any information or was in the Duchesne, Moon Lake area in March, definitely contact the Duchesne County Sheriff's Office. But it's been months now, and sadly it's looking like another case of the Utah wilderness keeping its secrets. I will say, Cleet, can you imagine how crazy it would be if our show was the one where we got like a tip called into and they knew what happened?
Yeah, just a tip.
Can you? Okay.
I saw some bones over here. Big old bone, a big old femur.
It's next to a tuft of green fur.
Yeah. We'd have to be classy about it.
But, that's it. That's the story. So bring us home, Cleet.
Okay. This brings us to our final story tonight. One from half a century ago in the same general mountain range. This one could be straight out of the Missing 411 book, too. It's the disappearance of Raymond Ewer in 1969. If you haven't heard of this case, I'm not surprised. It's older, but it's highly discussed among those who study strange wilderness disappearances.
He was the teenager who went missing near Flaming Gorge, right?
Yeah, no, that's right. Raymond Glenn Ewer was an 18-year-old from Washington Terrace, Utah, which is near Ogden for our Utah for our non
for our Utah listeners. That's near Ogden.
Jesus Christ! For our non-Utah listeners.
For those in Utah, you remember it's near Ogden.
I don't know if you've heard of Ogden.
It's a little up north, past Salt Lake a ways, Never
heard of it. In August 1969, Raymond went on a camping trip with his father and two brothers. They set up camp in the Uinta Mountains west of Flaming Gorge Reservoir near an area called Hoop Lake, right by Utah-Wyoming border. This is beautiful high country, pine forests, lakes, great fishing, and also quite remote. Now, Raymond had epilepsy, an important detail, so his father was attentive to his condition, but he was doing fine on the trip. On August 6, 1969, at around noon, Raymond told his family he was going to go for a short hike or walk away from the camp. Different accounts say he might have been looking for a good fishing spot or maybe just exploring the woods a bit. He wasn't planning anything big. He carried a gallon jug of water and a small backpack with some snacks for a quick outing. He even said he'd be back by the afternoon. So Raymond heads off from the campsite in broad daylight. He's in jeans and a light shirt. Just normal clothes, nothing for an extended stay. His father and brothers didn't think much of it at first. He'd wandered on short walks before. But as the afternoon wore on and Raymond didn't return, they grew worried. By evening, still no signs of him. That's when his search was launched, and it grew into a massive hunt. Volunteers from everywhere, even Job Corps members and military-style search teams joined in. This was big news in Utah at the time. The search area was described as heavily timbered by Uinta Mountains. Thick forest, rugged terrain. They searched for days, then a week, then into a second week, covering miles of wilderness around Hoop Lake.
And I'm just going to assume they found absolutely nothing, as these stories always pan out.
Yeah, 411. Almost nothing. According to the AP report, authorities were stunned that no trace of Raymond Ewer had been found even days into the search. No footprints, no clothing, no gear, like he just walked into the trees and disappeared. The only context was that Raymond had epilepsy, so searchers were especially anxious. He might have had a seizure out there and needed help. They even had medical corpsmen on standby during the search, ready to treat him if found. But day after day, nothing. Keep in mind, August in the Uintas is usually mild, but nights can get cold. If he was exposed or injured, he'd be in trouble once the sun went down. Yet they found no signs of struggle, no emergency camp, nada. And if large animals like a bear attacked him, which is rare but possible, there likely would have been evidence left behind. But there was none of that either. It is as if a trapdoor opened beneath his feet in the forest.
And you said this was back in 69, right? So there's really not a whole lot of like GPS or technology to help. But I would imagine like with that many people searching out there, like you'd have to find something, right? Like the kid's sock in the first story, like you have to find something.
Exactly. I mean, they search in a grid pattern. It's the complete absence of evidence that makes it eerie. One detail from a newspaper. Ewer was last seen when he walked away from his camp. His father and his two brothers had set up west of Flaming Gorge Reservoir. That's basically the last known fact. He walked away, and then nothing. After exhausting all leads, the search was eventually called off. Raymond was never found. His family, like all these families, was left with agonizing uncertainty. They even put a cenotaph memorial for him back in Ogden, a tombstone with no body, just to have a place to remember him. Officially, he's presumed dead, likely having succumbed to the wilderness. But nobody knows how a healthy 18-year-old could have vanished so completely on a casual midday walk. Over 50 years later, people still talk about Raymond Ewer in missing person circles. Some wonder if he might have intentionally disappeared. Though leaving your family like that seems unlikely, and why take water and say you'd be back? Others suspected maybe a fall into a hidden ravine or a mine shaft, something that concealed his body, and of course, the more fantastical theories come up too. Was he another victim of whatever strange phenomenon seems to pluck people out of thin air in these wild places? It's a mystery that remains unsolved since 1969. Truly, an abyss of not knowing for his loved ones.
So, folks, there we have it. 4 stories of people who walked into Utah's wild places and never came back. Garrett Bardsley, Jennifer Jenny Klein, Ani Racina, Raymond Ewer. 4 different decades, 4 very different people, but so many uncanny similarities.
Each case leaves us with that same pit in our stomach, the unanswered questions, the lack of closure. And these are just the cases we uncovered. There are more out there. It really makes you think, what the hell is going on out there? Is it just misfortune or the unforgiving force of nature? Or is there something more mystical or sinister at play? I mean, some of these missing 411 folks talk about patterns, like bad weather suddenly rolling in after a disappearance, or victims found near boulder fields or water. We saw a bit of that. Garrett vanished, and bam, storm hits the next day. They find his socks by a boulder field near water. Jenny's disappearance by a river during the weird distraction. Oni went toward a lake. Raymond was near a reservoir and a forest. It ticks a few of those eerie boxes.
And then you have the more out there theories, quite literally. I mean, should we put on our tinfoil hats for just a moment? Some people do say that UFOs or aliens may be snatching people in the woods. Others whisper about portal phenomena, like stepping through a door to another dimension. One Reddit comment on Oni's case literally joked he went through a portal, still alive. Then there are Bigfoot or Feral Mountain Men theories, or even some kind of occult weirdness. It's fun in a creepy campfire story to speculate about. But in the end, we have to remember that these people are real people who are gone. And I will say, like, I know we do a lot of, like, off-the-tongue jokes about UFOs, but it's with how quickly some of these people disappear and how closely they disappear. Like, I'm not going to say it's UFOs, but, like, how else could you describe it, right? Like, I mean, literally, like, 150 feet away from a campsite, someone just goes completely missing. It's almost impossible not to, like, know exactly where you're going in those instances.
Right. I mean, I think you're pointing towards, like, there's an intelligence behind it that has a 100% success rate.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. The rational part of me leans towards a more conventional explanation, hypothermia, accidents, and maybe an opportunistic kidnapper in Jenny's case. That's where my mind went. But even so, it's the real lack of evidence or the fact that you don't find a body over decades. I mean, a normal accident, you're going to find a body or clues eventually. With these cases, there's nothing. It's like the wilderness just said, mine now.
Mine now. One thing is for sure. Mother Nature can be brutal and very secretive. The mountains and deserts of Utah are gorgeous, but they're also vast and can turn deadly quick. And if you're lost out there, it's a massive place to disappear. We feel it can't happen to us until it does. These stories are sobering reminders. Always tell somebody where you're going. Go prepared and respect the elements. And even then, well, sometimes strange things still happen.
You know, David Pilates always says that the people who don't disappear have 2 things, a gun and a GPS, like emergency beacon that they can activate. So,
yeah,
food for thought. But anyways, to our listeners, I would say that these cases also highlight the strength and agony of the families left behind. Decades of not knowing can be worse than knowing someone's gone, right? You just want that closure. And if any of you out there have tips or leads on any old missing person cases, even a small detail, it might help bring closure. Garrett's family, for instance, keeps a foundation and would love any information. We can put their URL in the YouTube description.
Yeah.
Oni's case is fresh. Authorities are still asking for help. Don't hesitate to speak up.
But seriously, these tales, as creepy as they are, have a purpose on our show. They remind us that the abyss isn't just supernatural. Sometimes it's the unknown right here on Earth. The forests, the mountains, beautiful but full of secrets.
And we love exploring these secrets with you. We'll be there delving into it. Tonight's episode certainly took us into some dark, sorrowful territory. Our hearts go out to these families of Garrett, Jenny, Oni, Raymond, and all those who are missing loved ones out there.
We hope you found this discussion as captivating and as chilling as we did. And if you enjoyed this episode, please remember to subscribe, leave us a review, and spread the word about these unsolved cases. Most importantly, the more people know, the better chance someone remembers a detail that could help. But folks, that will wrap us up for this evening. As always, we want to give a huge shout out to you for joining in and listening to us. An extra special shout out to our paid supporters of the show, Soylent Cleat Feet, Lara, Mothman, Conklin Family, and Lou. Your paid support of the show is tremendously helpful, and if you yourself would like to join this group, there's a link below and several tiers to choose from, as well as a link that will give you access to our one-time beer donation of the show.
If you're listening to us on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe, as it really helps us get us out there. And as always, thank you for entering the abyss.
Until next time.